Disclaimer. This episode contains graphic descriptions of violence that may be disturbing to some listeners. Please be advised.
Hello, friends. Hi.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Differt.
Hi.
Oh, hello.
Welcome to Pop Crime and Wine BOTA Bonus. BOTA. You paid for this. Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to our time together.
We're going to talk
feel
about
like a
awful
prostitute.
things.
Yeah, it's about to get real dark.
You're paying for us to talk to you.
I feel like a prostitute.
A voice prostitute.
Oh, hello there.
You paid for my voice.
I should work on how great it sounds.
A vox toot.
I will never have a sexy voice. All right, who dies?
Whoa, let's jump into it.
What?
Who did?
Sometimes foreplay isn't necessary. Just
Hey,
kidding. It's always necessary. Always. Always.
Not always.
not if they're paying for
Always.
us. We're prostitutes here. We're just stand and deliver.
Stand and deliver.
Stand and deliver. That's
New
an
t-shirt.
interesting way to say it.
New t-shirt.
I ain't never tried that.
Vocal
Oh,
prostitute.
man.
Stand and deliver.
All
right.
right. Well, welcome to this week's episode.
you see what you're getting into now.
We're here drinking some BOTA wine. We're drinking the BOTA Box Nighthawk Black Cabernet Sauvignon.
Sauvignon.
So
So good.
It's bold and rich and dark.
Taste the adventure.
Stays fresh
All of the things.
There's like
for
4
30
bottles in
days.
there.
For up to 30 days. That's awesome.
Yeah. I was going to get the smaller box, like the BOTA Brick. And then I looked at the pricing and I was like,
you really might as well
you
get
might as
the
well
big
just get
one.
the big one. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so welcome. This week, it's my week. Hi, I'm Amanda. We didn't even get into that. Do you
I
think
know.
people know?
Should we
who
just
are
start
already?
I
over?
think people know.
No.
People
Should
know.
we? Do we?
I don't know. Whatever.
If you guys don't know who we are by now, then reevaluate your life decisions.
You know who we are. If you don't know who we are, I'm Amanda.
I'm Taylor.
I'm Mandy.
We
We had to force her with our
yeah.
eyes. We're like, say it.
peer pressure. Say your name. Say your name.
The
Say
people
your
want to
name.
know. No one is around. I love you.
All right. So let's just get into this. I am going to talk about George Haigh. And his name is spelled all weird, but I looked it up and that's how I think I'm supposed to pronounce
We'll
it.
go with it.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm just going to start with, in February 1949, police raided a warehouse owned by George Haigh. Inside, they found several 40-gallon drums and containers of concentrated sulfuric acid. Outside, they found 28 pounds of melted human body fat,
What?
part of a human foot, human gallstones,
Oh,
and part of a denture.
okay. So
That's
let's
great.
just start off with the nasty.
Hitting it with a punch.
The nasty.
The nasty. So obviously he killed someone.
At least one
At least
person with
somebody,
gallstones.
What's interesting is that as they start the investigation, they realize that this is not the first time that something has happened. So George Haigh did not start his life as a killer. Surprisingly, he didn't come out and kill
With a
people
knife?
immediately.
He wasn't born with a knife in his hand?
Nope. He, in fact, was born to a very conservative family in Yorkshire,
England?
England. He grew up attending classical music concerts and was awarded several scholarships throughout his academic life. He was very charming, and he was married, and then a couple months after he got married, at the age of 25, he was arrested and jailed for fraud. So while he was in prison, his new wife left him and was like, hey, not about this life. And his family, because they were so conservative, were like, we can't be associated with someone who's been imprisoned, especially for someone who, like, committed fraud. So his whole family, everyone was like, dude, you're on your own. Yeah.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye. So he served 2 years in prison, and then he was released and he moved to London and he became a chauffeur. Despite serving time for fraud, he continued to swindle unsuspecting do-gooders out of their money. He would pretend to be a solicitor named William Adamson, and he would frequently sell fraudulent stock shares from the estates of his dead clients at below market rates.
Well, that's shitty.
Yeah. I also don't know how you can do that, but this was also in 1930, like in the 30s.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, everything was a little bit more simple.
Yeah, you can't Google that shit.
No.
You can't be like,
Yeah.
what's this worth?
it's
Yeah.
hard for me to like
Literally.
think about that because I've never lived in that time. So I'm like, how can you get away
Yeah.
with this? But then I think about the 1930s.
How dumb are
and-
these people?
Yeah.
How
Like, don't
stupid
you
are you?
research? But in the 1930s in London, I'm sure it was totally different. Eventually, he was caught when one of his clients realized that he had misspelled his false name on a legal document. I guess he didn't know how to spell William or Adamson. They didn't say which one. But if you can't spell your own name on a legal document, there's probably something wrong.
Something peculiar going on.
So in 1939, he was arrested again and imprisoned. This time, he was sentenced to 4 years for fraud. And while he was sitting in prison, he was like, what am I doing wrong? Like, why do I keep getting caught? And he was like, I obviously need to stop leaving my fraud victims alive because they keep reporting the crimes. So while he was in jail, he just kept trying to figure out how to dispose of his witnesses. He was like, what's crazy to me personally is the fact that, like, instead of being like, I committed these crimes, I should probably stop committing these crimes, he was like, how can I continue to commit these crimes without getting caught? Like, as he's sitting in prison for 4 years.
Yeah.
He's a thinker.
I guess so.
He plans ahead.
He definitely did. He was like, I'm definitely going to keep committing all these crimes as soon as I get released. So while he was in prison, he started doing research, which also was strange to me, like how you can research all this stuff. But I guess there's books and stuff in prison. So
What was he researching?
Oh, well, he started researching the French murderer. You guys know how we are with names, so.
Well, and he's French, so
Yeah. The French murderer, George Alexandre Sarre. That's
Perfect.
Sounds
wow.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
that's
I
great.
like say it with an accent, then I,
Classy.
like,
Sure.
yeah. Normally, I would say George's Alexandre Sarret is how I personally.
That's the
say
Florida
it.
version. Sorry.
Whose signature had been. So what he did, his signature like act, I guess, he dissolved his victims in sulfuric acid, and so Haigh was like, what a genius idea. I'm totally going to do this. So in his free time in prison, he devised his own method of dissolving bodies in various forms of acid by practicing on mice.
How did he get sulfuric acid
Don't
in
know.
prison?
Don't
How did he get
know.
mice? No.
How did he get
We know
those
that one.
mice?
Sorry.
Eventually, he found that it only took 30 minutes to dissolve a small field mouse. And then he started calculating how much acid and time he would need for a full-grown man. And this is what's so crazy to me is that, like, he was so deliberate in everything that he did. Like, he was like, oh, this is such a good idea. Let me research exactly how much I need. Like, I don't think that there has ever been
Very
a
calculated.
more calculated crime.
Yeah.
Like, what is it called whenever it's like
Premeditated.
I kept thinking predisposed, and I
That's
was like,
not it.
that's not the
Nope,
right
that's not it.
term. But premeditated. Like,
Mhm.
there's no way that you can't say that all of the things that he did were premeditated. Like, he
You
had
know,
it all planned
What
out.
if we, like, what a world we would have if people like him would put that energy
Towards something good.
towards something good.
Yeah.
But no, he wanted to kill people. So go ahead.
Yeah. I also, like, I'm a big fan of Breaking Bad. And,
Yeah. In the
that's,
bathtub.
Like, with the acid. So it made me think of this,
Through
too.
the second floor.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good
So
episode.
crazy. So 4 years later, or like however long later, while he was doing all this, he was freed from prison. And since he knew how to kill people, he took a job at an engineering firm in the accounting department. Soon after that, he ran
Never trust an accountant.
I can't say that. I need accountants in my life. Dear listening accountants, please take care of me.
Help!
Help me.
Help me. Help me, Tom Cruise. So he ran into one of his old friends, William McSwan, who he had worked for when he was chauffeuring. And McSwan told him about this new venture that he had as a landlord. And what he would do was he would go around and collect rent from the tenants who stayed in his parents' properties. And even though Haigh had a well-paying job at an engineering firm, he was like, oh, McSwan has such a lavish lifestyle. I can't speak. The wine, man. I can't do anything.
I really do. I change like the words that I'm speaking.
I changed the words I'm speaking. Oh my god.
I pronounce words differently after I've had a couple glasses of wine.
Differently.
Like my
wrong.
tongue just feels bigger.
Yeah, I said, like, earlier when I said chauffeur, I said chauffeur.
Chauffeur.
Yeah. I was like, he chauffeured? And I
Yeah,
was like,
no,
I just kept
I
going.
let it go.
Yeah,
I let it
thank
go.
you. I kept going because I was like, no one knows how I say that
Did
word.
note that, okay?
And now I'm like, chauffeur.
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 Chauffeur. I mean, we are talking about London, so chauffeur.
Perfect.
So he was jealous that, like, his friend didn't really have to be working too hard, but had this, like, super lavish lifestyle. I cannot speak. Lifestyle. Lavish lifestyle. Here I am. And a few months after bumping into him, he lured McSwan to an abandoned basement and hit him over the head.
Ooh.
Then he was like, this is the perfect time for me to use my new disposal method. And he put McSwan's body into a 40-gallon drum and filled it with concentrated sulfuric acid. 2 days later, McSwan was nothing more than 100 or so pounds of sludge.
Ooh.
It's really gross.
I just hate that.
Yep, that's.
I just hate that.
I hate that. And Haigh poured him down a manhole.
Oh god.
Wow.
Is that it? Did they ever?
Wait, so his bones and everything?
Everything.
All
Yeah.
gone.
2 days.
Except for like just the sludgy, fatty remains?
I guess so. So then he was like, damn, I'm good. Like,
I did that.
mean, I'm just gonna take artistic
Liberties, yeah.
yeah, but in my mind, I feel like that's how he felt. He was like, psh, I got this. I'm totally doing well. And then he was like, well, since McSwan is dead now, I'm just gonna be like who he was. So he takes over his landlord duties. And he tells McSwain's family that he'd run away to avoid being drafted. He was like, oh, yeah, so McSwan told me that he's going to run away so that he doesn't get drafted, and I'm just going to go ahead and take over for him. And they were like, okay, cool, whatever. But then eventually they were like, wait a minute, why has our son not come home? Why? Like, and then after the draft was over, they were like,
Why doesn't he come back?
he's still not here. Like, everything should be fine. And so then Haigh was like, I'm just going to kill them too. So he goes ahead and kills his elderly parents. He takes their money and their properties and moved onto the Onslow Court Hotel in Kensington. However, the roughly $10,000 he had stolen didn't last long, as he shortly developed a gambling problem. He ran through his cash like super quick and was forced to find another wealthy couple to kill and rob, because that's what you do
When you're a
run out of
shitbag.
money.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, who else can I kill and steal their money? So he went to a house that was for sale, and he was like, hey, I'm really interested in this house. How can I buy this? And like was talking with the owners, Dr. Archibald Henderson and his wife Rose. And then like they let him in, they were talking to him, and then he killed them too.
Oh.
He disposed of them at a warehouse in Gloucester. Gloucester? I don't know. I've been doing so well up until now. And that's also like where he had killed the McSwan parents. The warehouse seemed to be the perfect place, as it was relatively remote and contained a manhole where the human sludge could be easily
Human
disposed.
sludge. Oh, God.
Yeah, just that by itself is bad. Just the term.
Hashtag human sludge.
We should
Oh,
make
God.
a new t-shirt.
Hashtag human sludge.
Nope. Nope.
I don't think I would want to be seen
I
in
don't
public.
think
in
so.
that
Definitely
shirt.
don't want to wear that
And then I
around.
don't want people to ask about it.
Yeah.
Why are you wearing
What
a
is
t-shirt?
human
This is-
sludge? Because
You
I
don't
feel
wanna
like
know.
it could be a few things.
Don't ask. It should just be like human sludge.
Don't
Hashtag
ask.
don't ask.
Oh, gross.
It's even worse. I'm not going to.
The thing is with the human sludge is that when I was researching, I found that term and I kind of like, not that I liked it, but I couldn't think of anything to change it to. So
Yeah.
I totally just kept it. I was
It's
like,
a good
yeah,
diss.
It's
They're literally just a
Liquid
pile
remains.
of human sludge.
oh,
Yeah. Liquid remains sounds more scientific.
Ugh. So he liked this warehouse, but then I think, in my personal opinion, from everything that I've read, I feel like he kind of got a little cocky.
Hmm.
Well, it sounds like it. He's just killing everybody left and right. Hide your kids. Hide your wife.
Well, and I feel like he just was like, I can get away with anything. I'm so great. And so after the 5 people that he killed, he was like, I need more space. I need more drums. I need more acid. I need a bigger place. And so he rented a larger warehouse. And I think that that's like what got him caught, and not the like. I feel like if he would have stayed at the other place
And just
like
done
kept,
what he was doing.
then he would have
Yeah.
never gotten
He just
caught.
wanted to grow as a person.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that he did, because I'm glad he got caught. I'm
This
just saying
kind
that,
of
like,
also reminds me of that I was gonna
Try
say
harder.
Netflix.
Okay.
Netflix.
All right.
It stars that guy with the big neck.
Netflix.
Neck.
They actually made a meme with him in it.
There's
that
so
said
many
Netflix.
things with him now.
Netflix and chill.
What's that Netflix show where they're like drug people?
Where they drug people. Taylor. You
What
gotta
is
give
it
us more than
called?
that.
Is it
With Jason Bateman in it.
Arrested Development?
No, but it's the same guy. But isn't that
Narcos?
no? It's
I
not
haven't seen
Narcos.
that yet.
But it's the one where him and his family get into this like really involved. It's down.
Let her have it.
I'm so close.
She's
Quiet.
picturing what Netflix looks like right now. She's like, it's under documentaries.
Ozark.
Ozark. Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet?
Wasn't
No.
that one time that I kept guessing Ozark and it like wasn't Ozark and I was like, why am I obsessed with Ozark? I've never seen it.
You've never seen it?
It's on my list of next shows to
It is.
watch.
It is
How
actually
many,
really good.
how many times an episode do we say, oh my God, Mandy's never seen this?
It's on
Wow.
my
But I'm
list for
actually
neck
very
shows to
surprised.
watch.
Oh, that's funny.
I'll watch it
You're
next.
hilarious.
Netflix.
Watch it next.
I've heard that it's really good.
It is really good.
It really is. Next
I'm
on my
surprised
list.
because it is like a Mandy show that you haven't seen it.
Oh, man,
D.
you better catch up.
All right. So he got a warehouse.
Oh yeah, so he got a bigger warehouse. I'm like, what are we talking about?
It's reel it back in.
And he met this wealthy widow, Olive Durand Deacon, who lived at the Onslow Court Hotel. And Olive thought herself something of an inventor. And upon finding out that Haigh Haigh. Sorry, I keep.
Did you say
wanting to
you
read it
started
differently.
saying Haigh, right?
But I feel like it's Haigh. I don't know. It's a weird. It's spelled
How do you spell it?
Haigh.
Oh.
So like I feel like I should say Haigh, but then I also feel like it should be Haigh. And earlier I was like Haigh. I don't know. Haigh, I'm pretty sure. So let's just keep going with that. But when she found out that he worked in an engineering firm, she asked if she could talk to him about an idea that she had for artificial fingernails, which I think is also a strange thing.
Why? We get them done all the time.
Right, but like, why would you want to talk to an engineering firm about it?
To engineer better materials, to engineer more strong materials to use for fake fingernails to make them prettier.
Maybe.
The curvature
I guess
of
when
them
I
to
think
make
of
them last longer.
When I think of artificial fingernails, I don't think, getting your nails done for some reason. I go dark and I'm like, what do you need artificial fingernails for?
Put on a fake doll and
Yeah.
be
Ooh,
weird about
caress
it.
yourself with it.
Caress yourself.
This is what I'm saying.
Well, anyway, he was like, hey, I think that's a great idea. Do you want to come over to my warehouse and talk about it?
No.
And then Olive Duran Deacon was the body that investigators discovered outside the Leopold Road warehouse. Unlike Haigh's previous disposal ground, the new warehouse had no floor drain and no manhole access. And unable to pour the sludge quietly into the sewers, he had to pour it outside and dump it into a pile of rubble. But that's where investigators found it. And I don't know if people were like,
Oh,
I don't know.
I'm just like picturing that on like a bunch of rocks and stuff, like in a backyard.
Yeah, I just picture like whale fat for some reason.
Yeah,
Like
it's just,
that's
like,
like what I'm
blubbery.
picturing is blubber, basically.
Oh my
But
god.
like
this
I don't
is
know
gross.
if the reason that they found it is because they could smell it. Like they never talked about how they found it. So
Or
like
the
I don't know
teeth.
if
Didn't
there
they
was,
say they found teeth?
well, they found
That
all
would
those
be,
things,
like-
but like why would you be investigating in like rubble? So like I don't know if like someone was called and
Got
were
a
like,
tip or
hey,
something.
there's a smell. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like there had to be some kind of reason for them to be investigating it. So they found the body, or not really body.
The
they just
human
found her
sludge.
stuff.
Remains.
Yeah,
Their
human
stuff.
sludge. And he was arrested and charged with murder. The media started calling him the acid bath murderer, and I thought that was like a really interesting name. So during the trial, he pleaded insanity and claimed that drinking the blood of his victims had driven him mad. But there was absolutely no evidence at all that he had like consumed any type of
I was
human
about to say, I
blood.
didn't hear you tell us about that.
Yeah, so they never like found any type of human blood or anything like in his system, or like they couldn't really examine the bodies because they were dissolved in acid.
Yeah.
So they don't know like if there was blood or any of that in there. And so he was in the defense room, and he was, or not in the defense room, but he was in the courtroom, and he was like, hey, I'm insane. I'm so crazy. I drank this blood. And during that, one of the arresting officers was like, hold up. I have something to say. And so the judge listened to him, and the arresting officer said that when he had arrested him, Haigh asked him what the chances were of being released from a psychiatric hospital versus a prison.
So he's just playing the system.
Oh, totally. He was like, which way can I get out faster?
Yeah.
And
Pretend like you're crazy.
so what I like about that is that the arresting officer was like, hey, that's a weird thing for someone to talk about before they plead insanity. I'm going to make sure that you guys know about that.
Yeah. That's good.
So he was called to the stand, talked about it. And then it only took the jury minutes to return with a guilty verdict, sentencing him to death. And George Haigh, was hung on August 10th, 1949.
Hung. Oh, man.
Hung. Mm-hmm.
Oh, good riddance.
Yeah, seriously.
I just thought it was really interesting. I guess I've just been on a serial killer like
Binge.
lately.
No, I really like that.
And
That's
so I thought it was like a really
interesting way of disposing of a body.
Yeah, I think
Like,
that
who even thinks of that?
right? he did. And I guess also for like the time. Now I also want to research more about the French man that he got the idea from. Because I want to know more about him. But it's just, I guess I just am so fascinated by him because not only did he, like, his crimes escalated so quickly. And he was like, I guess most serial killers from, like, my research, like, kill people because they enjoy killing them, where I feel like he just killed people because they were just disposable. Like, he had no, like, he didn't care about humans is how I feel. Like, he was just like, oh, you're just in my way, so I'm going to dispose of you. It's like you're...
But also people who, like, treat animals that way are usually sociopaths. Like...
Yeah.
The fact that he was just like, let me just dip this. I know that people don't like mice, but also I would never kill one.
Like throw it in acid.
Let me just make you go through the most painful death ever.
Yeah. But he was doing that to mice because he was trying to figure out how to kill humans.
Oh, yeah,
like,
for
he wasn't
sure.
doing it because he was like, oh, this is fun. He was like, in his mind, he was like, how can I kill a person and get rid of their body? Oh, let me experiment on this.
But the fact that he could do it makes him not a good person. Like, the fact that that's even in his mind of choices to make.
I do like the fact that he killed them before putting them in the acid. I think they didn't give too much detail, but like,
I think he liked the disposing way more than he liked the killing.
Actual killing part.
I think that he just like knocked him over the head and then threw him in the acid. I don't know. It's so crazy. But, like, I really think that he's the reason that he got caught because he was like, oh, I need a bigger space so that I can do more of it.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like,
overshooting.
Oh, I can
just it. He was just fascinated with the fact that he could dissolve people and make them disappear.
It was like a science project.
Everyone carry mace with you, you know. Protect yourself.
Oh, can I, like,
some
speaking
states
of
have a
that
law
really
that
quick.
you have to
So you can't have
first.
mace?
Yeah, you can't have mace in some places.
Oh, I have mace.
Okay, so, and I think you're supposed to be 18 to have mace, too. But, real quick, while we're on this subject, as all of you should know already, I'm reading the Ted Bundy book from Anne Rule. And she was talking about how all of the women that he ended up killing were all distracted on the night that he got them. So, like, he was kind of like, either he was super opportunistic or he watched them. But the fact that, like, every single one of them that it happened, like, one was, like, fighting with her boyfriend, or one was worried about her dad, or one was, like, all of these things were happening, and they, like, were those distracted in their mind.
Festival were like, he said that he had a broken arm and he needed help with his car.
So he did that with all of them. Most of
the women. So it's okay to say no to helping somebody.
Yeah, most of the women that were like, they were distracted in other things, and then he had a fake cast that he put on his leg.
Oh yeah.
He had a sling that he put in his arm. He had different things where he like made himself. Not only was he handsome and charismatic, but he also made himself like look like he couldn't do anything to you. And they were a lot of them were women who were normally like, one of them was like afraid of the dark and was never alone, and then the first time that she walked by herself in the night, she got kidnapped and like killed. So it's like they were distracted. And so even if you get in a fight with your boyfriend or something happens to where it would normally distract you, always make sure that when you're walking by yourself, be very confident and pretend like you know what's going on. Like, don't be distracted in any way. Like, even if you're not mentally aware of, like, if you're in your mind like, oh, I should have said this in this fight, or I should have like done this, or like, how can I make this better, or like even being afraid of walking by yourself, like just really focus on making sure that you look like, I am on a mission, I am going this place, and if you get in my way, I will fuck you up.
Really funny story. I cleaned this Airbnb for one of my friends, and I usually go when it's like nighttime, so it's like dark, and it's kind of creepy because it's like down below and it's like underneath. It's like a basement apartment. And so I drive down there and I get out and I'm in there, and as I'm like vacuuming things and like cleaning, I start thinking about if someone was like looking through that back window at me, or if they're like thinking about murdering me, and I start making crazy faces, like I look like I'm crazy, and I'm like...
Oh my God.
like make crazy faces so people are like, I do not want to mess with her.
Yeah.
But I actually do that because I think about it. I've read way too many true crime, like, you know, novels, and
That they want
watched
easy
too many.
prey, and you're
yeah.
like, I'm not
And I'm
gonna
like,
make
I ain't
this
gonna,
easy.
I'm gonna be like really nutso. Like, you are gonna have to go through a lot to kill me.
Even from the car, because I've been reading so many of these stories in Nashville of people getting robbed at their own house or in their driveway or in their car, like as they're either coming or going. And it's just like, I literally like turn off my car and I like do a 360.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I get out, still I'm like literally looking everywhere, and I make it very noticeable that I'm looking like everywhere around my house. And like we even have a little like part off to the side where between houses or whatever, and like we have a little porch or whatever, and you can't see around the corner. So I like literally like think about that.
Yeah.
And
punch
My
into the
dad,
air
like
randomly.
made such a point when I was younger to like prepare me if somebody ever tried to attack me. So it's like that's been in my head since I was a little girl, and he always said, just pretend you're a Tasmanian devil. That was like his line, was to pretend you're a Tasmanian devil and literally go bat shit crazy.
Yeah,
So,
because
like,
nobody wants
yeah.
to put up a fight.
No.
They
No.
want something that's easy.
Be loud, be
Yep.
crazy, just like if you hurt yourself,
Bite
like what?
people.
Yeah, just pull out all the stops. Groin, number 1.
Yeah. What was that from Miss
from
Congeniality?
Be nice, right?
I don't remember.
Be smile. There's what
I can't
No,
remember.
it was like
something
nose.
grin. No.
Grin. Oh, grin.
Groin?
Groin.
Ribs.
I'm
When
gonna
she
look it
went,
up right
when she
now.
elbowed the ribs.
Oh yeah, rib.
Instep,
Instep. You're right. Nose.
nose.
With the
Oh yeah, grin.
Yep, grin.
Got it.
Always
Nice.
grin. Yeah, I think that I think that's something that I love from even listening to other podcasts like My Favorite Murder. They always talk about like stay sexy, don't get murdered.
Yeah.
And like I think that that's something that more people need to be aware of, is like just really be aware of your surroundings, and like don't trust people.
No.
Like I would much rather be a
Don't be a
bitch
drunk
to
idiot either.
someone
Yeah.
than like get murdered.
Don't be afraid to hurt people's feelings. And that's
Yeah.
like when people tell me to smile on the street, I'm not very nice about it. I don't like that. When people catcall me, I don't like it. When they ask me to help with my guitar, I'm like, don't touch my shit. Like, it's okay to not, you don't have to be nice all the time.
No,
Yeah.
it's better to be alive than
Yeah.
to be nice. That should be our shirt.
Better to be
Yeah, that's
alive than
good.
nice.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'd wear that every day of my life.
I'm not trying to get murdered. I like literally, my husband is always like, why are you so obsessed with true crime? Like, why do you read these things? Like, because I was starting to I fell asleep the other day while I was reading, and I had like horrible nightmares.
Mhm.
And I know that the reason I had nightmares is because I'm reading about how Ted Bundy like killed these women, and like, and then I was like, I was so like taken aback from having these nightmares, and he was like, why do you do this? And I'm like, so that I don't die. Like, I'm trying to keep myself alive, and if I feel
studying.
like yeah, if I study how like these people do this stuff, then like I feel like I have a higher chance of
Yeah.
not dying. So here I am trying to help you guys not die. So don't be distracted and fight for your life.
Yep.
Bam.
Bam, bam.
Don't go to a warehouse with a man and become a human sludge.
Oh. Brought it
Human
way
brought it
back
back.
down. All right.
Just trying to help people. I'm trying to keep you alive.
We've had a lot of wine today, guys.
What? We haven't had any wine. Who
No
drinks wine?
Well, we do hope that you enjoyed this episode
Yeah.
as
BOTA
much as
bonus.
we did. That was a real sick and twisted story
Yeah,
you just
thank
told
you for
us.
that.
You're welcome. I'm down a deep
Hashtag human
Rabbit hole.
sludge.
Hashtag human sludge.
hashtag. I need to like brighten up my life. I'm the one that's the happiest one in this room too. All the
always have
time.
the
I'm
worst
always the one
ones.
that's like, yeah, let's just be happy all the time. And then I'm like, let's talk about the worst murders possible.
Acid bath
Human
murder.
All right, guys. We will see you on
See you
another
another
time.
time.